Wake up, you're going to be late again, Emily whispered, shaking my shoulder. I groaned, burying my face deeper into the pillow. 5 more minutes. I swear, just 5, she laughed softly. That's what you said yesterday, and you nearly missed your meeting. You promised me you'd start acting like a responsible adult. I am responsible, I mumbled, rolling over to face her. I just like my bed too much. Her lips curved into a smile, the kind that always made me believe she loved me. Well, responsible men don't leave their fiancés waiting every morning while they hit snooze 10 times. I sat up, rubbing my eyes. Fine, you win. Coffee first, then the world. She handed me a steaming mug, already prepared. See? Without me, you'd fall apart, I grinned. That's probably true. At the office, Daniel leaned against my desk with his usual smirk. You're late. Again. Want me to write you an excuse note for Mr. Carter? I rolled my eyes. I was on time, technically. Technically? He raised a brow. The meeting started without you. Relax, I still managed to impress Carter. Daniel chuckled. Of course you did. You're his golden boy. Workaholic, overachiever, always 2 steps ahead. Except, when it comes to your love life? What's that supposed to mean? I asked, leaning back. You spend more time with spreadsheets than with Emily. If I were her, I'd be jealous of Excel. I shook my head. She understands. We're building a future. All this hard work, it's for us. Yeah. Just don't forget she's a person, not a retirement plan. That evening, Emily sat across from me at the dinner table, stirring her pasta without eating. You're quiet, I said. She shrugged. I'm just tired, I guess. Long day. Not really. Just the same routine. I feel like I barely see you anymore. My fork paused halfway to my mouth. I'm right here. Physically, sure, she said softly, eyes fixed on her plate. But your mind's always somewhere else. Emails, deadlines, clients. Sometimes I wonder if you even hear me when I talk. Her words stung. That's not fair. Everything I do for us. I want to give you the life you deserve. I don't care about expensive dinners or fancy apartments, she whispered. I just want you. I reached across the table, taking her hand. You have me, Em, always. She looked up, her smile weak. Promise? Promise. Later that night, Daniel called. Hey, lover boy, he teased. Did you manage to put the laptop away for once? I sighed. Emily's upset. She thinks I'm not giving her enough attention. Well, she's not wrong. I'm trying. But if I slow down now, I'll lose everything I've worked for. Listen, man, Daniel said, his tone softening. Success doesn't mean much if you end up alone. Balance, that's the word you keep forgetting. I'll do better, I said firmly. Good. Because if you mess this up, I'll have to deal with Emily's wrath, and trust me, I'm not brave enough for that. I laughed, but inside I wondered if he was right. The weekend came and Emily dragged me to a park. She spread a blanket, set out sandwiches, and leaned back against me. See? Isn't this better than staring at a screen? She asked. I kissed her hair. It is. You win again. You should let me win more often. Maybe I will, I teased. But only if you keep making sandwiches like these. She giggled. Deal. For a while, everything felt perfect. Her laughter, the breeze, the warmth of the sun. I told myself I had it all. A good job, a best friend who kept me grounded, and the woman I planned to marry. But beneath it, a tiny voice whispered that something was off. Emily's smile sometimes faded too quickly. Her eyes wandered when she thought I wasn't looking, and her laughter often carried a hint of distance. I ignored it. I didn't want to believe that the life I had built, the love I trusted completely, could ever be anything but solid. Don't ever leave me. Em, I said suddenly, surprising even myself. She turned, startled, then smiled faintly. Why would I? You're everything I need. Her words comforted me. Yet the hesitation in her voice lingered in my chest long after the picnic ended. That night, as I lay beside her, listening to her steady breathing, I told myself the doubts were just in my head. I convinced myself I was lucky, that nothing could take this away. I was wrong. Why are you smiling at your phone like that? I asked one night as Emily sat curled up on the couch. She quickly locked the screen. It's just Sophie. She sent me a stupid meme. At midnight? I raised an eyebrow. Time zones, remember? She's in Paris visiting her cousin. She forced a laugh. You don't have to be suspicious all the time. I'm not suspicious, I said, though my stomach tightened. It just looked different. Different how? She challenged. Like you were blushing. Emily rolled her eyes. You're imagining things. Maybe I was. The next morning, Daniel slapped my shoulder in the office lobby. You look tired. Late night romance or late night work? Neither, I muttered. Trouble in paradise? I hesitated. Emily's been distracted lately, he smirked. Maybe she's bored of waiting for you to get off your laptop. I shot him a look. It's not like that. Relax, man. I'm just joking. She's crazy about you. Always has been. I wanted to believe him. Later that day, Mr. Carter introduced someone new. This is Ryan. He'll be helping around the office, documents, coffee runs, deliveries. A boy, maybe 20, with messy brown hair and a cocky grin, extended his hand. Nice to meet you, sir. Sir? I laughed. You can just call me Alex. Cool, he said, still grinning. There was something too casual about him, but I brushed it off. That evening, Emily dropped by the office with lunch. She walked in just as Ryan was leaving my desk. Hi, she said to him, her voice brighter than usual. Ryan's grin widened. Hey, you must be Emily, right? Alex talks about you. Her eyes lit up. Really? All good things, I hope. Of course, Ryan said with an easy laugh. I stood between them, awkward. Emily, here, sit. Ryan, you can finish those copies. Sure thing, boss, he said, winking before walking off. Emily watched him go, then turned back to me. He's cute, I froze. What? She laughed. Relax, I was joking. Can't I tease you a little? Yeah, I guess. But something in her eyes told me she wasn't entirely joking. That night at home, I tried to bring it up gently. You didn't have to say Ryan was cute. Emily looked up from her phone. Oh, come on. You know I was teasing. It didn't sound like teasing. Are you jealous of the office boy? She asked, smirking. No, I said quickly. I just didn't like the way you said it, she sighed. You're overthinking again. Do you want me to stop visiting you at work? No, I like it when you come. It makes the day better. Then stop looking for problems that don't exist. She kissed my cheek and went back to scrolling. Maybe she was right. But the messages kept coming at odd hours. I'd hear her phone vibrate after midnight, and when I stirred, she'd roll over, screen hidden. One morning, I asked, Who keeps texting you so late? She shrugged. Group chat. You know how friends are. Can I see? I half joked. She shot me a sharp look. Don't you trust me? I do, I said quickly, backing down. Then don't ask stupid questions, she muttered. Her tone stung more than the words. At the office? Daniel noticed my mood. You're sulking. Spill. Emily's different lately. She's glued to her phone, and she laughed at something Ryan said. Daniel raised his brows. Wait, Ryan? The kid who fetches coffee? Yeah, come on, man. Don't be paranoid. He's harmless. Still, she called him cute. Daniel laughed. And? She called me cute once, too. Doesn't mean she's planning to run away with me. It felt different. You're imagining things, he said, sipping his coffee. Emily loves you. Stop digging holes where there aren't any. I nodded, but doubt lingered. One afternoon, I returned from a meeting and saw Emily leaning against my desk, chatting with Ryan. What's so funny? I asked, setting down my folder. Ryan grinned. Just telling Emily about the time I spilled coffee on Mr. Carter's shoes. Emily laughed, her eyes bright in a way I hadn't seen in weeks. You should have seen his face, Ryan continued. I thought he was going to fire me on the spot. Emily covered her mouth, still laughing. That's hilarious. Glad someone thinks so, Ryan said, giving her a playful glance. I cleared my throat. Emily, did you need something? She turned, still smiling. I just wanted to see you. Right. Well, I'm here. My voice came out sharper than I intended. Her smile faded slightly, but she nodded. Of course. Ryan excused himself, walking off with that same cocky grin. I stared at Emily. You seemed pretty entertained, she frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, just I haven't seen you laugh like that in a while. So now it's a crime to laugh? That's not what I meant. Alex, she said softly, touching my arm. Please don't turn this into something ugly. He's just a kid. You're the only one I love. Her voice was calm, reassuring. But when she turned to leave, I caught the tiniest smile tugging at her lips, the same smile she had given him. And for the first time, I wondered if Daniel was wrong. I cursed under my breath as I parked outside the office. Damn it, the files. How could I forget something that important? The building was half dark, only a few lights glowing on the top floor. I pushed the door open and stepped into the silence. As I walked toward my office, I froze. Laughter, soft, breathless, slipped through the crack of my door. Emily's voice. My chest tightened. What was she doing here? At this hour? I moved closer, careful, until the voices grew clear. I can't believe we're doing this in his office, Ryan whispered, a low chuckle in his throat. Emily giggled. That's what makes it exciting. He's so predictable, so boring. He'll never know. My heart stopped. Boring. That guy's got no fire, Ryan said, his tone smug. Always buried in papers. You deserve better. That's why I have you, she whispered. I couldn't breathe. My hand gripped the doorknob, shaking. For a second, I thought about walking away, pretending I hadn't heard. But rage burned through me, and before I could stop myself, I shoved the door open. They froze. Emily's lips were still inches from Ryan's, his shirt halfway unbuttoned. Her eyes widened. Alex, Ryan stood quickly, fumbling. Sir, don't! My voice cracked like glass. Don't call me sir. Not after this. Emily reached out, panic flashing across her face. It's not what it looks like, I laughed bitterly. Not what it looks like? You're in my office. With him, at midnight. Tell me, Emily, what exactly does it look like? She flinched but didn't answer. Ryan shifted awkwardly. Look, I didn't mean for this. Shut up! I snapped, the rage spilling out. You think I want to hear excuses from you? Emily's lips trembled. Alex, please just listen! Listen! My hands shook as I pointed at them. I just heard you. You called me boring. You said he makes you feel alive. Tell me, what else am I supposed to listen to? Tears welled in her eyes, but still she didn't deny it. I staggered back, pressing my palm against the wall. How long? She lowered her head. My throat tightened. How long, Emily? Silence. Her silence was the answer. I let out a hollow laugh. Unbelievable. I gave you everything. I trusted you with my whole damn life. And this is what I get? She stepped closer, desperate. Alex, you don't understand. You were never there. You were always working, always somewhere else. I was lonely. Lonely? I stared at her in disbelief. So you decided the office boy would fill the gap? That's your solution? Ryan cleared his throat. Maybe I should... I turned on him, fury shaking every word. You should disappear before I break your face. He swallowed hard. Grabbed his bag and slipped out, leaving Emily and me in the heavy silence. She whispered, I didn't want to hurt you. You didn't want to hurt me? My voice cracked. Emily, you destroyed me. Do you even know what you've done? Tears rolled down her cheeks. I just wanted to feel something again. And you couldn't feel it with me? She shook her head, sobbing. The knife twisted deeper. I sank into the chair, clutching my temples. I worked so hard for us. Every late night, every deadline. It was all for you, and you couldn't even wait. You couldn't even talk to me. I tried, she whispered, but you never listened. My chest ached as the words cut through me. Maybe I hadn't listened enough. But did that justify this? How could you, Emily? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She didn't answer. I looked at her one last time, the woman I thought I knew, the woman I was ready to marry, and saw only a stranger. The air felt cold, heavier with every breath. I grabbed my jacket, pushing past her. Alex, please, she called after me, voice breaking, but I couldn't stay. I walked out of the office, down the empty hallway and into the freezing night. The world around me blurred. The city lights, the cars passing, the chill biting my skin, none of it mattered. Inside, I was already broken. Eat. Daniel shoved a sandwich at me. I'm not hungry. I stared at the wrapper. You need fuel, he sat, eyes searching. Talk. I don't have anything to say. I lied. Is this about Emily? He asked. I nodded. She's gone. Not just out, gone from me. Don't do anything stupid, he said. You've thought about quitting. I did. The word felt dangerous. Walking away sounded clean. And then what? His voice sharpened. Run to where, regret? Pity isn't a plan. You don't get it. I swallowed. She called me boring. In my office. With him. Daniel's face hardened. I'm sorry, man. That's low. She kissed him, I added. Right there. He was quiet. You can let it ruin you, or you can make it mean something else. How? I whispered. By pretending it didn't hurt? Not pretending. He leaned forward. By using it. Anger can be a tool. Not for breaking things, for building yourself. At home, I stopped sleeping. I watched the ceiling until the sun came like an accusation. My phone buzzed with messages I couldn't face. I missed calls from Carter. I missed deadlines. At night, the laughter echoed. Emily's bright giggle, Ryan's smirk. Call her, one voice hissed in my head. Don't, another said. You already know. I paced until exhaustion dulled me. When Carter called, I answered because ignoring him felt worse. Alex, are you okay? He asked. Fine, I lied. Dealing with something. Do you need time? No. My voice was brittle. I'll manage. After the call, I sat at my desk and watched my reflection in the dark screen. Daniel came in with coffee like a priest with a ritual. You're slipping, he said. I can cover, but only for so long. I can't focus, I admitted. Every task is fogged by them. Then make tasks small, he pointed at my planner. One item today. Then another, I tried. I answered one email, then another. The cursor blinked, a steady metronome pulling me back. Each small action felt like a small victory and a small lie. You sound like a self-help book, I muttered. Maybe the book is right, he offered a half smile. Don't quit. Don't hurt anyone. Get control. Control of what? I asked. Control of you. He tapped the side of his head. Control is quiet. It's not fireworks. It's showing up. Anger flickered into something colder, purpose. I thought of the long nights, the deals I'd closed, the promotions whispered over drinks. I thought of the ring in my drawer, heavy and stupid. Revenge? I asked, the word tasting foreign. Daniel shrugged. Not revenge, recovery. Let the hurt push you forward. I began with tiny things. I ate, I slept a little. I drafted a proposal I'd been avoiding. I left the office later, headphones in, the city noise like a bandage. The images came anyway, Emily's smile, Ryan's grin, but they dulled with each task completed. One night I caught myself speaking to the dark. This won't break me. You sure? Daniel asked the next morning. No. I felt a crack in the certainty. But I'll try, he grinned. That's all anyone can ask. Will trying be enough? I asked. It has to be. He was firm. You're not defined by their choices. You define you. I clung to that like a rope. The anger that had threatened to consume became a motor, steady and cold. I didn't plan explosion. I planned persistence. At my lowest, I had wanted to leave everything. Job, city, memory. Now the idea of leaving felt like admitting defeat. Instead, I chose small battles. Emails sent, meetings attended, numbers checked. Each small win was a stone in a wall I was rebuilding around myself. I won't let this destroy me, I said one evening, more detesting than belief. Daniel slapped my back. Good, because when you rise, it'll be subtle and devastating. I let myself grin, a sharp thing. Maybe he was right. Maybe the fall had started the only kind of climb I could survive. I kept a notebook now, small victories, dates, reminders. I told myself to count them. One by one, they added up into something I could call a life again, not hers, mine. Alex, you look different, Daniel said, leaning against my desk. Different how? I asked, typing without looking up. Focused. Like you're carrying dynamite in your pocket, I smirked. Maybe I am. I'm done being broken. Finally, he exhaled. What changed? I realized Emily doesn't get the last word. I do, Daniel studied me. So what's the plan? Work, projects no one wants. Risks people fear. If I'm going to rise, it'll be here. He nodded slowly. Then rise. I'll back you. I buried myself in files, deadlines, and strategy sessions. The ache in my chest remained, but I poured it into every pitch. Colleagues whispered about my late nights. Some doubted, some envied. I kept moving. During a tense meeting, a senior executive, Mr. Carter, stopped me as others filed out. You spoke with conviction, he said. Conviction is all I've got, I replied. Surprised by my own bluntness, he chuckled. Conviction is more than most. Join me for coffee tomorrow. The next morning, he leaned back in his chair, watching me carefully. "You're young, but you work like a man who's lost something. Am I right?" I hesitated. "Maybe, but I plan to gain more than I lost." "That's the spirit I want in my team," he said. "Take the Reynolds account. Everyone fears it. Show me what you can do." Daniel's eyes widened when I told him. "Reynolds? That's a career killer. Or career maker," I said firmly. He sighed. "You're serious." "I have to be," I said. "Pain can destroy me or fuel me. I choose fuel." For weeks, I lived inside that account. Calls, negotiations, strategy. Carter checked in often, asking sharp questions. "You push hard," he said once. "Why?" "Because I can't afford not to," I admitted. He smiled faintly. "Good. Never let fear set your pace." The nights blurred into mornings, but the work lit a new fire inside me. The heartbreak didn't vanish, but each success dulled the sting. When the Reynolds deal finally closed, Carter shook my hand firmly. "You did what others couldn't. Remember this moment." Daniel clapped me on the back. "You're proving something." "To Emily?" he asked. "No," I said, steady now. "To myself." And for the first time since the fall, I believed it. "Alex, have you noticed?" Daniel leaned closer at lunch. "Noticed what?" I asked, sipping my coffee. He smirked. "Emily, she doesn't come around anymore." I shrugged. "Why would she? She made her choice." "Yeah, but people talk. She looks worn out." I stayed silent, though a bitter satisfaction stirred inside me. Months passed. Mr. Carter pushed me harder, giving me projects others feared. "You've got something rare," he told me one evening after a presentation. "What's that?" I asked. "Grit. Pain carved it into you, didn't it?" "Maybe," I said, meeting his eyes. "But grit's all I need," he chuckled. "Keep climbing. You're not done yet." Rumors about Emily reached me slowly, carried by coworkers who thought I should know. "Did you hear?" one whispered. "She asked Ryan to cover her shopping bills." "Poor guy barely pays his rent," another snickered. "Saw them fighting outside." She looked furious. He looked broke. I kept my face calm. Inside, the irony burned like fire. Daniel caught me smirking one day. "You heard, didn't you?" "Heard what?" "I played dumb. That she's realizing Ryan's not the knight she thought he was." I leaned back. "I don't need to hear. Life has a way of teaching lessons." One evening, as I left the office late, I spotted Ryan stacking papers. He glanced at me nervously. "Working late?" I asked casually. "Yeah," he muttered, avoiding my eyes. I let the silence stretch. "It's tough, isn't it? Carrying more than you can afford?" His jaw tightened. "I do what I can." "Of course," I said lightly, walking past him. But inside, I felt the weight shift. Him sinking, me rising. At dinner with Carter, he asked, "You're quieter lately. What's on your mind?" "Justice," I admitted. "Justice or revenge?" He pressed. "Neither. Just patience." "Watching things turn?" He smiled knowingly. "Sometimes patience cuts deeper than action." A week later, Daniel barged into my office. "You won't believe this. Emily tried to show up at a company event." "With Ryan." I raised an eyebrow. "And?" "They didn't get past the lobby. Security called them out." She looked humiliated. I chuckled softly. "She used to walk in beside me like she owned the place." Daniel nodded. "Now she can't even walk in at all." That night, alone in my apartment, I whispered to myself, "The tables are turning, Emily, and I don't even have to move a hand." Daniel walked into my new office, grinning. "So, manager of operations, how does it feel?" I leaned back in my chair, letting the title sink in. "Feels earned. Every sleepless night, every scar, it brought me here," he chuckled. "And now, you control budgets, promotions, salaries. You know who's under you?" "Ryan," I said flatly. Daniel raised his brows. "Poetic, isn't it?" "More than that," I replied. "It's justice written in ink." Later that week, Ryan shuffled into my office with a file. "Sir, I need your signature on this." "Sir?" I repeated, glancing at him. He stiffened. "Yes, you're the manager now." I took the file slowly, signing without hurry. "Your paycheck runs through me now. Do your work right, and you'll get what you earn. Nothing more." His eyes flickered with unease. "Understood." As he left, I felt the weight of the shift. Once he laughed at me, now he answered to me. The first time I saw Emily again was at a cafe near the office. She walked in wearing a bright dress, but the spark in her eyes was gone. "Alex," she said softly, sliding into the seat across from me. I sipped my coffee. "Emily, you look different, stronger." "I am," I said. "You look different too," her smile faltered. "I've just been busy. Busy surviving?" I asked calmly. She tried to laugh. "You always had that sharp tongue." "No," I corrected. "I only grew it after you cut me open." She dropped her gaze, voice trembling. "Ryan's not who I thought he was." "I know," I said. "Everyone knows." When I returned to the office, Daniel asked, "So? How was seeing her?" "Strange," I admitted. She pretends she's confident, but her eyes, they're heavy with regret. "And you?" I felt satisfaction. "And sadness." He tilted his head. "Sadness?" "She was once my whole world. Now she's just a reminder." That evening, Mr. Carter stopped by my office. "You've settled into the role quickly." "I had to," I said. He nodded. "Leadership isn't just about climbing. It's about standing tall when others expect you to fall. Remember that." "I will," I promised. As the office emptied and silence filled the halls, I stared at the city lights through the window. The man I used to be, the broken, betrayed fool, was gone. Now I decided who rose and who sank. Emily stood at my office door, her voice trembling. "Alex, can we talk?" I gestured for her to enter. "Close the door." She sat across from me, hands twisting together. "You look powerful now." "I earned it," I said evenly. "What do you want, Emily?" Her eyes watered. "Ryan isn't who I thought he was. He's careless, selfish. I thought he'd give me freedom, but all I got was debt and shame." I leaned back. "So now you miss the life you threw away?" She swallowed hard. "I miss us. I miss the way you made me feel safe." "I made a mistake, Alex." My chest tightened with memories, her laughter with Ryan, her whisper calling me boring. "You didn't just make a mistake," I said. "You destroyed me. Do you remember that night? You called him exciting. You called me empty." Her voice cracked. "I was wrong. I was selfish. But can't you see I'm paying for it?" I stared at her. "You expect sympathy from the man you betrayed?" She leaned forward. "I don't want pity, I need help, money, a chance to start again, anything." A bitter laugh escaped me. "Help? The only help you'll get from me is this. I decide when Ryan gets paid, and that's all you'll ever see of me." Her lips trembled. "Alex, please." "I loved you once." "No," I cut her off. "You loved what I gave you. When I broke, you left. That's not love." Tears slid down her cheeks. "So that's it? You'll let me drown?" "I'm not letting you drown," I said coldly. "I'm just not throwing you a rope." She covered her face, sobbing quietly. For a moment, pain twisted in me, memories of holding her, of believing her lies. But I forced my voice steady. "You chose him, Emily. Now live with him. My scars don't allow second chances." She stood slowly, broken. "I never thought you could be this cold," I whispered, almost to myself. "I never thought you could betray me." The door closed behind her, leaving silence. My heart was steady but scarred, vindicated yet never whole. Daniel leaned back in my office chair, smirking. "You've changed, Alex. Stronger, sharper, almost unrecognizable." I sighed. "Stronger, maybe. But sharper?" "That edge came from being cut first." He studied me. "Do you regret anything? The way you handled her?" "No," I said quietly. "But it doesn't feel like victory either. It feels like survival." Later, Mr. Carter stopped by. "Impressive work on the quarterly results," he said. "Thank you," I replied. He tilted his head. "I've seen men crumble under betrayal. You didn't. You turned it into fire." I gave a faint smile. "Fire burns both ways." "I'm still scarred," he nodded. "Scars mean you healed." "That's more than most." That night, Daniel and I walked out of the office together. "You ever think you'd get here?" he asked. I shook my head. Back then, when I found her with him, I thought my life was over. Every step since has been heavy, but it carried me here. Closure, then? I exhaled. Yes, not victory. Not happiness. Just closure, he frowned. That doesn't sound like enough. It is, I said firmly. Closure means I can breathe without choking on the past. That's all I need. Alone at my desk, I whispered to myself, she scarred me, but she doesn't own me anymore. And though the wound would never vanish, the weight finally shifted from my chest. Closure was enough. Daniel caught me staring out the office window. Thinking again. Always, I said. But it's different now. He raised a brow. Different how? I don't hate her anymore. Or him. Daniel leaned against my desk. After everything, you can just... Let it go? I nodded slowly. Hatred chained me to the past. Now, when I think of Emily or Ryan, I don't feel rage. I feel pity. They're stuck where they chose to fall. He crossed his arms. And you? I climbed. Not because of them, but because I refused to stay broken. Later, Carter stopped by. You've grown into this role faster than I imagined, he said. I had no choice, I replied. He smiled faintly. Sometimes the fire that tries to consume us ends up forging us instead. I met his gaze. That's exactly what happened. Betrayal destroyed the old me, but it also built this version, one that doesn't bend. Walking through the office floor, I noticed the respect in people's eyes. They didn't see the man who once crumbled over a woman. They saw the leader who carried scars like armor, I whispered to myself. I'm not defined by her betrayal anymore. The past had carved me hollow, but in that hollow space, I rebuilt something stronger. I stepped into my office, head held high, my hand steady on the door. I didn't just survive her betrayal, I became the man she could never break again.